everyone, it's Lizzie and welcome back to my channel. I've gotten a lot of questions on my checkbook register app that I use, Balance My Checkbook. So in today's video, I will be showing you guys my screen on how I utilize the Balance My Checkbook app in conjunction with my Paycheck Budget. So if you guys are interested to see how I use a checkbook register along with my budget, then keep on watching. So before I get into sharing my checkbook register, I'm going to show you a quick overview of the Paycheck Budget. So let me zoom you guys in, that way you can see a better view of my budget. Okay, so each and every paycheck, I budget out every single dollar. Now there's a few things in this particular paycheck that I want to point out to you. I'm not going to go fully in depth because I'm going to be showing you guys the checkbook register portion of the video, but I want to point out a few key things that are a little bit different that you haven't seen in past paycheck budgets if you've been following me for a while or just been binge watching the budget videos. One of the things that you're going to notice really quickly is that I don't have what I usually put in here, a beginning balance. Now this beginning balance that I had put is from my my checkbook register available balance in the bank account. Now the reason why I decided for this paycheck not to include that is because what is left over, I actually just want to keep it in the bank account. I don't want to include it in this breakdown of the budget because I want to do something like what the budget mom does, creating a checking account cushion, and I do have this miscellaneous category that's, I guess, considered that, but the balance that's remaining in my bank account currently, I just want to keep it in there and see if it can grow. So that's why I'm not including that on this paycheck budget. This is seriously what is the income we receive physically in our checking account. So this is the total income. And then I've gone and broken down our budget based on the percentage formula. Now for this week, we are doing it based on 80%. Now we are going to be sharing what has changed, but it's been my husband's pay schedule that's been a little bit interesting to navigate. So that's why we are laying out our budget a little bit differently. So you're going to see higher amounts than what they usually are. And that is because we've broken down our budget using this bill tracker worksheet. Now I just set it up so it's vertical instead of the horizontal, just for video purposes. It just makes it a lot easier because I'm using my iPad. Now I write in my bills as usual, and you're going to notice that we don't have as many pays for the month of November. We're just including two, so the 6th and the 20th, we are only writing in those pay days. And so with that, it's going to cause, oops, I did not highlight one of these things here, so let me do that on camera. It's going to change when we have to have the total bills filled in for our budget. Like we have to have that total amount set aside. So like what I did here, when I highlight those numbers, it means that that bill needs to be completed. We need to have that total amount in our bank account to pay that bill by this day. So on the 1st of the month is when our rent is due. So we have to have that total before the 1st of next month. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. Now, one of these bills, you're going to see that I have it kind of split up. And so this is kind of new technique for me. And the reason why is because for the month of November, this total bill needs to be completed by this payday. So 3236 completes this month's bill for our electric, okay? But then we still need to think about, well, what's coming up in the following month? So $25 I'd like to set aside in my bank account to be applied to next month's bill. Does that make sense? So you can do that, or you can just like break up your bill tracker into, like split this up into two. I just kept it at one and it just makes sense to me. So now, as you see here, I have a trainer amount that's due $150. We pay my husband's trainer every 2 weeks because he does have a personal trainer. So, and we pay him in cash because it's just easier. And we set aside $75 for that, and that completes for the first half of the month. But then we have this right here on the 23rd is when he has to pay his trainer again. So from this pay, we also have to set aside an additional $75 for the trainer, but that goes to next week's or the next pay because that's every 2 weeks. So that's how I've split up that part. So if you have something similar, like, I don't know, if you take your kid to dance or whatnot and you pay every couple of weeks for certain sessions of whatever you have going on, you can do this a similar way. Now, what I've included also in here, just because of our change in pay schedule, and this is how you can like pivot and adapt if a big change has occurred in your life where you used to get paid every week and now it's bi-monthly or bi-weekly or something like that. The bill tracker really allows you to visually see and lay out a plan for your upcoming pay day. So that's really why I love using the bill tracker. So down here, I've highlighted 3 items, and these are the variable spending that is I have to pay every week, and I really need to plan accordingly. These are the needs, right? Gas, groceries, and then we have a toll pass that we have to pay for our travels and for my husband's job. So we budget based on what our monthly goal budget is for these particular categories. So for gas, we typically spend about $70 every week. So being that we are covering this for a 2-week period, so let me just show you on the calendar. Here is the payday. So we need to think about covering our gas for this week and also the following week until the next payday. Same thing for groceries. We need to make sure that we set aside, we withdraw enough cash to cover for grocery for this week of the 14th and also the week of the 21st. So those are the things that you want to consider whenever you are breaking down your paycheck budget. Look ahead and see what bills are coming due, see like what you have to withdraw for cash, the needs. Those are like the main focus. So these 3 categories are the really big major items that we do have to set aside for each week that is a need. Grocery is a cash envelope category for me. So that's why I did include that, because that in itself is a need that we have to plan out for. So I went ahead and I wrote in how much it would cover for a 2-week period. So I wrote those in on this paycheck bill tracker item. So when I write in my budget, I reference that bill tracker and I write in the numbers right here. So you're going to see those numbers that I wrote in for grocery, gas, and SunPass. That's essentially a 2-week covering for those items. So I hope that makes sense to you. And then in just a little bit, you're going to see me breaking down my paycheck budget expense section and the cash envelopes and the savings using the the checkbook register app. So let me go ahead and show you guys this screenshot here of my checkbook register app. So I'm just going to move this aside. That way it can be on this screen and you guys can see the screenshot of my phone as you see me plugging in the numbers. So I've already put in what has already cleared my bank account and all of that. You're going to see a current balance, which is up at the top. That is my bank balance. What is on my checking account? At the bottom number, you're going to notice that this shows an available balance. This is the money that includes the gas and also a miscellaneous category along with what was left over in my bank account prior. So it's going to tell me what is truly available for me to be able to spend from my debit card. So this is why it is so important for me to fill that in. So now the first piece that I plug in is exactly step by step what is on this paycheck budget. So I type in right now, I'll type in what is given to tithe. So $221. I'm going to plug in those numbers right here. Is going to be applied and withdrawn for tithe. So I just write that in, even though it has not cleared the bank account yet. I'm going to write it in and deduct it from what is the available balance. Then the next item is our ministry that we give to, $25. So now I move down to the expense section. I plug in the rent amount that we are setting aside so that we can cover our rent payment. So $650 is going to rent this month, and that's all based on the bill tracker. And some of these are recurring, so it's already saved in the memory of the app. So I'm just going to go down the line, plug in iTunes, it's 99 cents. Spotify is $14.99. We have an ID theft, which is our identity theft protection from Xander Insurance, is $12.90. That is fixed every month. Our electric bill, with the bill tracker, how I'm going to break this down is $32.36. I'm going to set money aside for that because that's going to complete this month's bill. And then $25, I will just have it set aside for the following month. So you're going to see two separate entries for electric, and that's just what makes sense to me. Guys, there's a method to my madness. Next item is storage. I'm going to put in $32.02. That's going to complete the payment for storage. We're going to do the same thing to car insurance. I'm going to plug in the numbers $99.54. It seriously is so simple plugging it on my phone. You can use a standard checkbook register that you get at your bank teller and actually write it in. I have my phone with me all the time, so anytime when I go to the store, if I happen to swipe my card, go to the gas station, I plug in the numbers right here on my checkbook register. That way I know exactly what is in my bank account. Then we have our phone, the water bill. Then we get down to these items. Now the only one that I will apply right now, because I have to load the pass, is the Sun Pass. So I'm going to deduct $80, and that is what I will pay in just a minute. After I'm done filming this video, I will load my Sun Pass, $80. I will not deduct from my checkbook register the gas or miscellaneous. I'm just going to leave it as is until I actually use gas. Then I will deduct it from the checkbook register. Now, right up here, we're on to our cash envelope category. All that I do, because I've broken down my categories, I'm not going to do line by line and write in these numbers. All I'm going to write in is this $480. I'm going to put it as cash envelopes, as you see here, because that is going to be withdrawn from my bank, and that will reflect, and I will just be able to mark off. There's those little circles that you can check off when things clear your bank account. So you're going to see me tap it because that has been withdrawn from my bank account. So you're going to see me tap and it will do a little check. And the number on my bank balance is going to change. So that's a good way for you to keep track of what has been paid and what you're still waiting to have paid. So now we move on to the savings section. So the sinking funds, this is a savings, and all I do is I write in transfer to sinking funds, or you can honestly do whatever you want for this. But since I've already broken down the specific categories and this goes into my online bank account, all I'm going to do is just write that number in, transfer to sinking funds, and I'm going to write in $75. Then the next thing, I'm going to put transfer to home, and I'm going to put in $38.36. And then the last one is for my husband's retirement. So we are slowly saving up so that we can open up his retirement account. So essentially, these retirement numbers that I have set aside, it's still in our checking account until we can have and meet with an advisor to be able to roll over his 401k. and open up a retirement product. So we still don't know. We're still kind of shopping around, but I just want to make sure that we are setting money aside so that way we can open up that account. So 116, I'm just going to put for my husband's retirement. So now that I have all those numbers plugged in, you see the available balance on my register. This number, again, just to kind of go back to the beginning, includes the starting balance, so the available balance before the payday. It includes the amount that we set aside for gas. Now, it may be a little different because we have filled up our car. Prior to me filming this, my husband did go to the gas station and I did have to apply that. But it'll essentially include the available balance before payday, your gas that you set aside for, because I do use my checking account. I use my debit card so that I can fill gas, and then the miscellaneous category that we budgeted out for. Now that you see that, the screenshot of the screen recording of the Balance My Checkbook app, now you can use any other app that is similar, that is a way for you to keep track of what has cleared your account. The Every Dollar, for me, it works when I organize and lay out a plan for the month. But as far as balancing my checkbook, it's not a good app for me. This app I've been using for years. It's old, but I know that there are so many other apps that you all have recommended. So if you're ever curious, read the comments, because a lot of you have good suggestions on other apps. That's a way for you to track your account transactions and all of that. Or you could just be the paper to pen person and write in, what has cleared. I like the digital form along with the paper personally, because my phone is mobile. I keep that with me and I could just reference that. But you can always just use a paper and pen and an expense tracker or whatever you prefer. So now is the part that I love, and it is stuffing my cash envelopes. So this I've already written in. It's my teller slip. I went to the bank already and I did my withdrawal. So $480 based on what this is what I took. And I figured out what I wanted as far as my denominations. This is really helpful if you want to be organized, instead of like going to the bank and not having a plan prior to that and just like taking a lot of time filling in and figuring out what you need. Plan ahead, get a teller slip or just a regular Post-it note and fill it in. But I like having something cute. So I just keep these, I keep a stack of these and I cut them out. They're in my Etsy shop if you ever wanted to know where to get these. But yeah, so I have my cash already withdrawn, and we are going to go ahead and get to stuffing the cash envelopes. So these are my new cash envelopes that I'm using for this pay period. I've already filled in like the back section. I have gone up to a few places already, but we are going to go ahead and get to stuffing. So I have my cash with me, and we're going to just go with the first line. So for eating out, we need to take out $20. Guys, are you ready for Thanksgiving? Oh my gosh, I can't believe that we're at the end of the year. Like, it hit me suddenly, like, holy cow, we are here. Like, it's crazy. So $20. We did not use the funds that was in here. It was only $10. So now we have 30. So that's done. Groceries, this one is getting quite a bit, but we still have $20 in here. So as you guys may or may not have known, I've been doing this every so often. It depends on what I have left. But if there's any funds left over in some of my cash envelopes, it depends on the season, I will take the funds and I will set it in my savings goal. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the $20 that was remaining that we did not spend. And I'm going to go ahead and deposit it so that it can go towards our savings goal, which is so exciting. So I'm going to put that we saved it. So now the balance is technically 0, but then we are adding $150. And this is for a 2-week period. So this needs to last us 2 weeks, but we typically just budget out weekly or go grocery shopping weekly. And it's $75 per week. So I'm gonna go ahead and write in 150. And I don't remember what I wanted for my denominations for groceries. I know I typically, the ones are mine. Let me just get this organized. All right. Let me get this organized. Sorry, guys. So we got 50, 100, 120, 130, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 150. And we do have to go grocery shopping for this week. Home is getting $20. So we did have to buy like toilet paper and that sort of thing. So we used the funds for this. So there's nothing in here. So we are adding 20. So the balance for this is 20 now. Pets is getting 40, and I am not going to take anything from this because our dogs have a vet appointment coming up. So I want to make sure that we have enough for that and also for their food. So I am just keeping it as is. So we're stuffing 40. So there's 149. Let me just make sure because I don't think I've counted this last week. 50, 70, 90, 1, 20, 40, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 149. And then we're getting into our spending. So this is my spending envelope. I love it. I only have $6 in here, but knowing me, I'm just gonna keep it in here. So I am stuffing $50. So it's 56 now. I have 20, 40, and 50. So that one is good. And then the other 50 is for my husband. So I'm just gonna take the 20, 40, and the 50 and hand it over to him. And now we have this trainer. So we do pay our trainer, as I mentioned, in cash. I just have an old cash envelope. Yeah, it's summertime. And yeah, I know it's not summer, but I'm using this envelope even though it's not the season, guys. So I have the trainer envelope. There's already 75 in here from last time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the rest of the funds. So it was 1, 40, and 50. And I set it up in these specific denominations so that way my husband can just grab what he needs to cover for his session for the next 2 weeks. So this is essentially kind of like a sinking fund, I suppose, but it's not really a sinking fund. It's an expense. So we just keep this in our safe, and this is really the only cash envelope that we keep in cash in our safe right now, because the rest are on our online bank account because they're sinking funds. And so one thing I do want to point out is, yes, these totals are not reaching the goal amount, but we're adjusting. We're currently going through a transition, and you'll know more about it. Obviously, you could hint that it's because of my husband's new job situation, and it's been a work in progress for us to adjust. But just know, this is why I love budgeting. This is why no matter where you are in your finances, no matter how much money you make, how much money you have in your bank account, how much your net worth is, you need to create a budget, because it's giving every single one of your dollars a job. And that is why it is so important to be on a written budget. And so with switching things up, creating a budget, it just needs to make sense. And so right now, in this season, in this pay period, for us, this is what makes sense for us right now. even though sometimes it doesn't fit into what we've planned out, what we've hoped for, but we're striving to get there. And so that's really what this budget worksheet does for us personally, and I hope that it could do the same for you. So I really hope that you got something out of today's video, that you are feeling motivated to just get on a written budget that makes sense to you and your family. If I could just help out one person, then I did my job, because my goal for my channel and for just my journey is to help families find freedom in their finances. And freedom can mean something completely different for you than it does me. So that is everything, guys, for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it, and I will see you guys in a brand new video. Bye, guys.